Welcome into Pressbox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. And with me, back with us, is the old left-hander, the old 2%er on the Immaculate Grid, Ross Grimsley. How are you, Ross?
Excellent, buddy. How you guys doing?
I'm feeling a lot better than I did before you left town.
I hear you.
Before you left on your cruise. And Luke Jackson, our managing editor at Pressbox and one of the more knowledgeable folks around town, all things sports. Guys, we're here every Monday to talk baseball, and we'll spend a half hour or so talking baseball. But I thought we'd start off with postmortems of yesterday's really depressing loss at the hands of the Kansas City Chiefs. You know, it's like virtually nobody. I mean, you have 5-6 experts on that CBS stage before the game, and the only one of them, not Bill Cowher, not what's the guy with the glasses who's on the morning show on CBS.
Boomer Esiason?
No, that's who I'm saying was the only guy. No, the African-American guy.
Nate Burleson?
Yeah, Burleson. I couldn't think of his name. Not Sims, not Burleson, not Cowher. Only one that picked Kansas City was Boomer Esiason. That was fascinating to me, that 5 of the 6 of them loved the Ravens yesterday. Guys, I'll let you have at it.
Yeah.
Ross?
Ross and I were talking off the air before we came, obviously before we came on, and Ross said,
we can't say what we were talking about.
No, we can't say quite what we were talking about, but basically what Ross said was, boy, this team can look like the best team in the league, but they can also look like one of the dumbest teams in the league at times. And when they lose games, it's a lot of dumb mistakes that seem to pile up over and over again.
In crucial times, in crucial situations. Yes. That's what is amazing.
And in these playoff games in the Lamar Harbaugh era, they have looked very, very similar. And Stan actually wrote a column about that for PressBoxOnline.com this morning.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it too, texted back and forth, and it was amazing how smart Kansas City plays and what they do. And I think the Ravens, their defense got frustrated, and they were retaliating and just trying to kill instead of just make plays and make smart plays and not try to do, be the second guy to whack somebody and get caught. But they did it at the wrong times and just took them out of good situations and good areas of the field. It was really just shook your head.
You know, Ross, I don't know if you even saw or heard about it, but before the game, about 2:00, an hour before the game, Luke?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like a little bit more than
and I have to be honest, because I try and be objective. I'm rooting for the Ravens. They basically, if a team comes out and wants half the field, the other side has to sort of give up their position being on the whole field. And you see Justin Tucker is stretching, and Mahomes is trying to do some passing drills. And Mahomes, kicker, Justin Tucker, is like stretching, and finally his helmet and a couple balls are there, and Kelsey like throws him off to the side, and they basically tell him to leave. And I have to be honest with you, I thought it started there, but I thought it was a lot of alpha dog stuff.
Oh yeah,
that they did that we didn't respond well to, and I think the 5 unsportsmanlike conducts were all out of frustration, out of being manhandled and not playing their game.
Yeah, and well, the other thing is that Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have been in this situation quite a bit over the past 6 years, and they simply do not make mistakes.
No.
Patrick Mahomes threw 39 passes. Not one of them was put in any sort of danger.
Yeah.
They were all in places that only his guys could get them, or they were throwaways. And it is easier to play quarterback when you have a good defense backing you up, and you understand that a punt is not a bad play.
Yep.
And Andy and Patrick got pretty conservative there in the second half because they were confident about the work that their defense was doing. And it just seemed like they were playing not to screw it up. But of course, at the very end, when Patrick Mahomes has to have a first down, he makes the big throw to Marquez Valdez-Scantling to put the game away. And you could see when you're at the game, and I was fortunate enough to be at the game, you could see the kind of complete command that Mahomes has of big games. The big games are played at his tempo, nobody else's tempo, his tempo. And if you're going to beat Mahomes in a big game, you got to take it from him. He's not going to give you anything. He's not going to,
like the proverbial vampire. You got to stick a stake through his heart, man.
Kelsey rose to the occasion as well. That's the first, really good game he's had in several weeks.
Yeah,
and that really helped out.
But he's now the leading receiver all time in postseason.
Exactly.
But then again, can you imagine
the cream rises to the top?
Can you imagine how many catches Raymond Berry would have had if they played this many games?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, the worst news I heard today is now that the Commanders have asked for permission to talk. They interviewed Mike McDonald today, and the Seattle Seahawks have asked for permission to talk to him. So he's going to interview out there. I think he's going to get one of these two jobs, Luke.
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson will get the Commander's job, the Lions offensive coordinator who did such great work with that loaded offense this year. And I think there's a very good chance that McDonald's going to get the Seattle job. And you could see why that ownership group out there would be interested in bringing him on, because you have two great offensive minds, innovative offensive minds, in Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, who are going to have good offenses.
And Harbaugh is going to have a good offense too out there.
Well, that's the AFC West.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. You're right.
You're absolutely right that he will have a very good offense. Yeah. But if you're in a division with the Rams and the Niners, to have an innovative defensive mind to counter those two, that makes some sense to me. But I understand why some might say, why did you move on from Pete Carroll if you were just going to hire another defensive guy? I get that too. But McDonald would make some sense out there in Seattle to me.
And I think Quinn, who may have had a leg up, didn't do himself any favors. His Cowboys defense was torched by the was that the Packers that torched them? Yeah. That was just terrible. Let's shift over to first of all, Ross, you were on the Oriole cruise for a week. Tell us a little bit about the cruise and the history of the cruise.
Yeah, this was a cruise started up by Elrod Hendricks. It's called the Baltimore Baseball Cruise. Earlier, I was invited 2005 by Elrod in early December, and on December 21st, he passes away. And that's the first cruise. I've been on 18 of them in a row, me and my wife, Bird. And it is, we have about...
Is that a world record for the most consecutive team cruises by anybody?
I'm not sure. It might be close, but we've had a little bit of, Singleton's been on there, Tippy, Orslack. We've had a little bit of everybody on there. And even before me, Lee May was on it for several years. And it's a great time. We go to a lot of different places, different islands in the Caribbean, and a lot of fun. A lot of the same group of people go on it. We've met and become friends with several of them from the Baltimore area and surrounding area. And it's just a good time. I think there's about 35 people on this particular one. And they're big baseball fans. And, we sit around different time. We have a question and answer period. And they ask questions about the game. This year it was me, Stan House, and Mike Devereaux, and their wives, and Devo brought his kids, which are a blast. But we always have a good time. It's a lot of fun. Thank God for Elrod and putting it together. And it's a great time. We just have a lot of fun. It's about a week, 8 days, and really good time, great people.
All right. And you told us 2 weeks ago, this is the cruise that Earl Weaver was on when he passed away.
He was on a different cruise. We were out. It was another cruise that Scotty McGregor, Bill Swaggerty was on.
Okay.
And this was I think some other teams were involved.
Okay.
In that. But that was the one, not Elrod, but Earl passed away on. We were both out, and we got in port early, and they were still a day out at sea when he passed. So yeah, that was a sad thing, and it was like I said, a very sad thing.
All right. Luke, you and I, on the flip side of the sadness of something like Earl Weaver passing away, you and I had the opportunity last Tuesday to be invited to the Orioles for a little special prize treat for the media. Tell us about it.
Yeah. The press box was named after Jim Henneman. So now the press box at Camden Yards will be known as the Jim Henneman press box, which is just so fitting, so great. He's been covering the Orioles for how long, Stan? About 50 years?
Well over 50 years.
Yeah.
And closer to 60, but there was a 3 or 4 year period where he left coverage of the Orioles to be the PR director of the Baltimore Bullets.
Right.
You know.
Right. And Jim was very touched by it.
Yeah. He was really
very emotional about it in all the best ways possible.
And Bill Stetka, who introduced him and sort of gave a little history lesson, Bill is like a crier. He cries at the drop of a hat. And it was really very touching for these two guys.
Was that a surprise for him?
It was.
Yes, it was.
So that had to be, that had to be tremendous.
Yeah, he was really touched by it. And a lot of media came out for it. Like when everyone heard that the Orioles were doing something for a media member, because that's all they told us, I guess everyone sort of figured, this is probably something for Henny. Because
and look, they couldn't name the press box after Peter Schmuck.
Right.
Because the Schmuck press box, Although ownership probably thinks there's nothing but schmucks down there in the press box. But we're really happy for our coworker and a member of our press box team going on 17 years. And like you said, Luke, really deserving Jim Henneman honor. Commemorative naming of the press box. I'm glad you straightened me out. I thought we had to change our name of press box to Jim Henneman press box.
Well, many people read us for Jim Henneman. So.
I know that. Believe me, I know that. Hey, before we get back to talking some baseball, I was remiss at reading the ads that I get every week at the beginning. So there's a question that AJ Michaels for you. That is, what company has the expertise and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus-free? Well, that would be AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com. And wanted to mention that we are brought to you by the folks at Superbook Sports. And I'm sure a lot of people over the weekend signed up with Superbook as their sports betting purveyor. And if you do that now, Superbook, which is one of the most trusted names in Vegas, and now you can use that promo code, either Glenn Clark 23 or Stan Charles 23, right on the screen there. Stan Charles 23, no spaces needed, and you can type it in caps or the small letters. What are the small letters called, Luke, when they're not caps? They're
lowercase.
That's it. I'm
really on a
roll. I'm really on a roll today. Anyway, Superbook, if you use one of those two promo codes, you can score up to a $250 win with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they will match your first bet up to $250 with promo code Stan Charles 23, all one word, no spaces. Great time to sign up now. You can still bet all the college basketball, bet on the Super Bowl and the Orioles season, which is coming up, and they've got all the prop bets there for you. So thank you to Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In a few minutes, I'll tell you a little bit about the Costas Inn, who, guys, you may have seen it, Ross.
Yes, I did.
On TV.
Yes,
CBS,
I did.
Like, did one of those in between timeouts. When they came back, they showed the Costas Inn. They showed people live there eating crabs and everything today. It was really great to see them get that kind of exposure.
Had a good crowd down there too.
They always do. Yeah. They always do. It is a great place to watch sports. Hey, guys, General Manager Mike Elias, I believe he's worked pretty hard at trying to wrangle a pitcher in a trade. I don't think they really have been in the hunt much for free agents because the ones you really want are you have to pay astronomical dollars. But they've been trying to get Dylan Cease. I think they've talked to Miami for a long time to try and work something for Luzardo or maybe even Braxton Garrett. But it turns out we're down to there's still plenty of time, but we're getting there. It's almost February 1st. Spring training opens in about 14, 15 days. And I thought what would be interesting today, Ross, would be to talk about, okay, what if we don't get another pitcher added to us? Is there enough there? We'll be disappointed, and I think they do need one. But is there enough there that the Orioles can still compete with the top echelon teams in the American League East and the Rangers and the Astros? What do you think?
I think they're banking on these guys that they have doing that. You got a year under your belt for a lot of these guys. Rodriguez should be better. I mean, he went down, he came back, he showed, he made adjustments and learned a lot. So hopefully he takes that in to the season. Bradish, I think he's going to, continue to go along. Kramer has improved tremendously as well. So I think they possibly the question mark a little bit is the closer and hopefully
Well, you left off at the three starters. Then you have the two left-handers, and I think there's uncertainty with both of them. With Means, it's more a health thing, and with Irvin, Luke, it seems like it's like, do we really trust this guy? And I like the trade when they made it. I think he's an innings eater.
right.
Yeah, and I think that Irvin provided in the second half what the Orioles thought they were going to get out of him. And really, from about June 1 on, provided what they were going to get out of him. However, he did carry an option with him, so they had the ability to send him down and get him right in the minor leagues. I don't believe he has an option this time around. So if he starts out poorly in the rotation this season, you don't have that easy out this time around. So that's something to keep in mind. However, to your point, I mean, they acquired him for a reason, and the second half of the season, you saw why. Would you prefer to see Irvin in that spot or Tyler Wells?
Well, my way of thinking on this thing, because I think at some point they're going to get either the help from the minor leagues out of Seth Johnson. I'm talking about in June or early July.
Okay.
I think Seth Johnson, who they acquired in the Mancini deal, Tampa was in that deal. It was a three-way deal.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's coming back from TJ surgery and should be ready, hopefully June, July. You got Chase McDermott, who they also acquired in the Mancini trade from Houston, and he's a guy that's put up some pretty good numbers. And you got Cade Povich, who is a very highly thought of prospect. You'd like to think that one or two of them might be ready to really get you into that second half of the season. So it gets back to whether I think Wells would be better in the bullpen from a durability standpoint. I think he's much more likely to give you 60, 65 innings out of the bullpen than 140 as a starter. I think it's just his physicality scares me that he could break down if you're counting on him to be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, he's about 30 years old, and the past two seasons, he's broken down around 100, 110 innings.
Yep.
And so if you start the season with him in the rotation, you're sort of banking that that's not going to happen again.
Right. And that's not a good thing to bank on.
Yeah, which history tells you that it might very well happen. Even though the thing that's so enticing about Wells in the rotation, this is a guy who led the league in WHIP for a good
2 months.
For a good portion of the season. I don't think at the end of the season he had enough innings to qualify. But for a good portion of the season, he did. And it was really just the solo home runs that did him in. And of course, once his velocity ticked down a little bit, the command ticked down a little bit, the homers became a lot more plentiful and became a lot more problematic, and went back down, reset, came back up, found his velocity again, really helped out of the bullpen. But I think there has to be something in there to tell you that he's going to take that next step at, I think, what is it, age 30 for him? That hasn't happened within the past
He's
2 years.
29 or 30, and I think it's all about his durability. Ross, I'll turn to you on that with Tyler Wells, because you know how to handle that. You've handled pitchers that were growing into big league pitchers. Uh, do you think the upside for him as a starter is there, or it's just like, hey, let's get 60, 70 great innings out of him in the bullpen and really make this bullpen kick ass?
Yeah, it's going to depend on. I think they're going to have to see what Irvin can do, and then make a decision if
And
he
if
if he
Means is healthy.
exactly. I mean, I think he's going to get an opportunity early and see what he can do, and if he can't do the job, then he goes to the pen or they release him. And then nothing says that they can't make a move during the season, depending on where they're at.
Yep.
But just like you said with Wells, he's a guy that he started out really well. He kind of wore down for whatever reason, so he might be a guy. Even if they go with 6 guys, which is a possibility. But I think they're going to have to see what Irving can do, and Means as well, to see how he handles and bounces back, and that will determine what they do. I think with the guys in the bullpen, but that's going to be. Interesting to see. They got, got some guys in the minor leagues that can come up. They can also make a deal to get somebody maybe in spring training or during
the midway point
season.
of the season. Yeah.
But they got to see what they got with some of the guys. Dylan Tate's another guy that's coming back, and that will be interesting to see where he fits in with all of this.
Well, I want to go back and talk a little bit about the Wells thing and the starting rotation, but I wanted to get Luke's opinion. Do you think Johnson, McDermott, or Povich, that it's realistic to expect that at least one of them could be of some real assistance, say from June 15th on?
So full disclosure, I've seen Johnson and I have seen Povich. I've not seen McDermott.
Okay.
Johnson is very interesting. I saw him at Aberdeen on rehab. I think it was last September. Really good stuff, and you could see why the Orioles targeted him with the trade with the Rays, and that was a good get, no question about it. I see 2024 as more of a build-up year for him coming back from Tommy John surgery. I think there's an outside chance perhaps he could help in September.
Mm-hmm.
But I see him more as a 2025 option.
Okay.
I think McDermott and Povich could very well be midseason options for the Orioles in 2024. I think that they're much more realistic possibilities.
Now Ross, you jumped in front of us with Dylan Tate. So the bullpen going into spring training consists of Kimbrel, Cano, DL Hall, Cionel Perez, Danny Coulombe, and then Jonathan Heasley, Mike Bauman, Webb, and then you got Zimmerman, Aiken, and Baker rounding out. That's without Wells. So I think if you get Kimbrel, Wells, Cano, Tate, and then the 3 left-handers, you got one hell of a bullpen.
Really, it's going to. And Kimbrel is going to be interesting. I don't think he's a guy that you can pitch back to back that often, back to back days.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit of at times, closure by committee, I think. But you got a pretty good group of arms over there that's had some success. So, like I said, they're going to have to wait and see how the starters pan out. So that means Irwin, and then adjust it from there because they got the guys to do it with.
Let me ask you, Ross, you've been around a good while. Does a Kimbrel, we saw Tyler Wells a couple of years back become the closer, before Bautista was really ready. And I think it was before, was he used after they traded Jorge Lopez, Luke? I forget now.
No,
It was
so
the year before. It was the year
Wells was
before that.
Wells was the closer a little bit in 2021.
21.
Yeah.
Does a Kimbrel, a veteran guy who's been through the wars, can he help a Wells adjust to being a part-time closer?
He's going to be a lot of help to a lot of guys down there.
Yeah.
A veteran with experience has been through the battles and the war, how to do some things, and we saw, I think in the playoffs against Texas, the pitcher, all of it, they try to do more than they were capable of instead of just doing what they did to get them to that point. And that was one of the things that you kind of had to worry about because they've never been there before. The playoffs, excited, full crowd, full packed house. They did a little bit more, and they just weren't as sharp. They didn't make the pitches instead of just doing. Hopefully, they learned from that, knowing that you don't have to do more. You do what you did to get you there, and go from that. But I think with a veteran guy and some of the veteran players they have on there, they can the younger guys learn something, and with getting these veteran guys, they can learn a bit more if they just listen to them, and they do a pretty good job of doing that.
Let me talk to you a little bit about the Costas Inn again. We all saw that. Ross and I did. Luke was at the game, but CBS Sports yesterday did one of those coming out of the breaks things where you see the sign for the Costas Inn. They went inside, had the waiters and waitresses delivering stuff. I even saw Pete putting the crab cakes.
Exactly.
That must have been done at like noon before he went out to the game with his brother Nick. But the Costas Inn, it is nationally known, and it's beloved by all the people around here, the Baltimore area that eat crabs, love crab soup, want good crab cakes. It's all there for you at the Costas Inn, located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. They've been there for over 50 years. A Maryland tradition is there. And again, we always say this about no matter what time of year it is, crabs, the supply's not going to be that plentiful, to feed everybody that wants to eat steamed crabs. Got to call up in advance at 410-477-1975 to call the Costas Inn and reserve your crabs, pick a price point, and make sure they got the price point you want and the amount you want. Costas Inn, 4100 North Point Boulevard. All right, guys, getting back to baseball. It's 12 days away. By the way, we had a passing today of the former manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, Jimmy Williams, passed. You know him at all, Ross?
Just a little bit, not a whole lot. Yeah.
He's a decent skipper.
Really, a lot loved by a lot of players.
Yeah, no question about it. But we're about 12 or 14 days away from spring training starting. What are the feelings like, Ross, for the players as they get ready? Is it oh no, here's a grind again, or is it because it's spring training? It's like, man, this is the best time of year.
It's you love to get started. I know that these young guys are ready to get back and hopefully pick up where they left off. And they got a great group of kids. They really work hard. They have a good time, and I think that they're ready to get started again and to get deeper in the playoffs. That's the whole goal, to get to the World Series. And as far-fetched as that may sound, I'm sure these guys are really think they can they put it together. They can go deep in the playoffs, at least deeper than they went last year. And that's the goal. The goal is get to the World Series, and they're going to be good for a long time.
Ross, thoughts? I mean, Luke, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm wondering. So Buck Showalter would always talk about how, like, the early portion of camp, when you got like 60 or 70 guys in camp, and there have been no cuts yet. The spring training games are just getting started. He said that was a great time of spring training. That no one was on edge yet.
Yep.
Everyone was comfortable. Everyone was happy to be back. For you, Ross, what was your favorite time of spring in getting ready for a season?
Toward the end.
All right.
Toward the end, you're ready to go.
He didn't have that many bullets, Luke. He
you're
was
tired.
wanted to fire the.
You're tired of the fundamentals doing that crap every
I
day.
thought that you would be a big PFPs fan.
Hey, we did it. We always did it. I mean, that way we did it so much. We did stuff that we never did during the games. We bunt plays, just did those till we were blue in the face. But I mean, you do it. What was good is we did it. We did it right. We didn't have to do it long. You go out, you do it the way it's supposed to be done. You don't mess around. You don't make stupid throws. You do it the way you do it in the game, and you move on. And you don't have to do it all day.
What was one Earl Weaver drill in spring training where you were just like, I cannot believe we're doing this?
we would have holding runners.
Uh-huh.
But the bunt plays, that was a pain. But I mean, you did it till you had it down and you knew what to do. It's just second nature. Cutoffs and relays, that was, PFP was, it was. I know as a coach, we try to make it fun and try to make it a game and a game, but do it right, and you don't have to do it long. You go, you do your thing, but. Toward the end of we didn't do it, so I have to do it as often toward the end. But I mean, you're ready to go. Let's go. Let's start the season, and you want to get into some cooler weather because now it's hot. You're tired. Running was a pain in the ass, but we had to do that every day, and it was just part of the thing.
Was there like one? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay. Was there one drill that you remember where you were doing it in spring? And you're like, why are we doing this particular drill? When is this ever going to come up? And lo and behold, maybe like in a random August game, it comes up, and you're like, oh, Earl was right.
No, after a while, and if you play it for a while and you see, I don't remember if you remember Detroit years ago in the World Series, they couldn't field their positions, they couldn't cover first base. And that was one of the things when I pitched, I fell off to the third base side. And it was a lot of times it was hard to me because I had to completely turn around. And if it's a fast runner, there's a chance I wouldn't get there in time. And that was something I had to be very aware of. But as minute as you think some of the plays and some of the stuff you work on, it will come up during the game. And, if you hadn't worked on it, then, you go, wait a minute. But no matter what, PFP, throwing the bases, pickoffs, there's just so many things that a lot of it you do it on your own. I'll tell you, one of the biggest problems now is guys playing catch. They can't throw the ball 70 feet to one another. Some guys can't do it. I mean, they'll be throwing the ball over your partner's head or into the dirt. And that's one of the biggest things that you see now at almost, especially at the lower levels. You have to really, just playing catch, you have to really hit me in the chest. I know I did it, as a kid. I got thrown over my dad's head, and after a while, I had to go. He wouldn't get it. He said, you have to go chase him. And then you go, okay, I'm tired of chasing it. I'm going to figure out how to hit you in the chest, at any distance. So it's the small things are big.
Hey, Ross, you played for 3 Hall of Fame managers. You played for Sparky, you played for Earl, and you played for Dick Williams, correct?
Right. Yes.
What were the similarities of how they ran spring training?
They ran, but they had different guys that would set it up.
Right.
Different coaches that set spring training up, the schedule. Early in spring training, you got so many guys, and you're out there running through everything, and it just takes a while to go through it. And you break it into groups, but everybody's similar. The better managers, if you stress the fundamentals and doing them correct, and not, I'll tell you a story. It happened when I was with the Giants. They were doing PFP. And one of these guys came from another team. This is after they won the World Series. And he was doing the PFP. He was throwing the ball between his legs and behind his back.
Ross, you and Luke have mentioned PFPs for the people
Pitcher's
listening.
fielding practice.
Okay, I just wanted to get it out there. I
Right.
knew it, but I just okay.
Yeah, but this guy was just going through the motions, and the coach that was doing it just dropped the bat and walked off the fungo and said, "If you're not going to do it right, we're not going to do it." So the guys, wait a minute. So the coach, this is a minor league coach that was running the thing, and he called Bumgarner, Matt Cain, called him over. I said, "Guys, you know, I don't know about you, but this is your team. This is your team. And you're letting some guy come from another team that is a losing team, and you're going to let him do that?
Right.
If I was you, I would jump up his ass. And we don't do that here. We don't go through the motions here. We do it this way. That's the reason we won 3 World Series in 5 years.
So did Cain and Bumgarner
they go, we're sorry. We'll take care of it. We'll just do it. We'll do it. And they started doing it. They did it right. You know, and that's the whole thing. If you're going to do it correct, because you see guys fundamentally, there's some stuff that goes on. You just shake your head at, you know. But if you do the fundamentals right, and all the good managers have usually good coaches, and they do things, this is the way we're going to do it. We're not going to do it all day, but you do it right, and we'll move on to the next thing. And that's what they do.
All right. That's what we're going to do. We're going to move on to the next show, which between the three of us will be next Monday in the late afternoon, 4 or 5 o'clock. Luke, anything else from you today?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Then I'll remind you that we have been brought to you by Superbook Sports with their great offer sign-up bonus using the promo code StanCharles23 or GlennClark23, all one word. Lowercase is fine. No spaces needed. Use one of those promo codes. You score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, they'll match your first bet up to $250 with promo code StanCharles23, GlennClark23. And visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also brought to you by AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning, and also our friends at the Costas Inn. For Ross Grimsley, the old left-hander, for Luke Jackson, I'm Stan the Fan, and we'll see you down the road. I'll be back with Eric Garland on Thursday, and we'll talk some baseball Oriole prospects. That's it for now. Bye.